Today is November 30th, and Yankees fans are mad because the Yankees haven't signed anyone among the flurry of incredible signings. So let's talk some Yanks.
Talking Yanks with old JOMBOY, JOMBOY and Jake. Recaps galore, weekly awards, stat lines, theme and hot takes. Get your Yankees news from these two fine dudes. It's time for Talkin' Yanks. Talking Yanks with old JOMBOY, JOMBOY and Jake. Talking Yanks with old JOMBOy, JOMBOy and Jake.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Yanks, brought to you by DraftKings. My name's Jimmy. I'm coming to you from New Jersey. Guy just started doing a lot of power washing, or not power washing. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a loud machinery in my house. And Jake is in the Bronx, BBD, wearing a summer shirt on November 30th, looking dapper in the corner. How you doing, Jake?
That's not a summer shirt. That's an any day shirt. Proud of BBD. Hashtag swag. What's going on, everybody? James, Biebers, everyone live in the chat. Excited to link up with you guys. I mean, it's you go on, whether you're talking to your Yankees friends or you go on Twitter or, WFAN, wherever you listen to Yankees news, the Yes Network. Everyone's TP Wigwam. They're too tense.
Dude,
I'm glad we get to kind of talk about it. I know even in the office we got a lot of Yankee fans. I know some of our people were like, "Hey, dying to kind of talk Yanks a little bit, just because there's conversations that need to be had right now. There's a lot going on everywhere else in baseball, and the people are getting hot, Timbo.
Too hot, and I'll open it up. Like, if you're expecting to tune this in and JOMBOY and Jake, I don't know about Jake, but they're gonna rip the Yankees because what the fuck are they doing? I'm ripping you. Shut the fuck up. You're being I gotta mute the chat right now, and I love our chat. I'm not looking at Twitter. People are being mad to be mad. It's November. It's not even a game where they're down 10-0 in the second inning and I'm like, hey, there's a lot of game left. Nothing matters until February 1st. The Yankees can still go get Correa, trade for Olsen, pick up a pitcher, and have the offseason everybody was asking for. That's still an option. And just because they haven't done it yet doesn't mean it looks like they're not going to do it. Everyone's just crying and bitching and moaning to cry and to bitch and to moan, and it's so stupid. So what I want to do, because I don't want to do that dance, I want to look at the players that have signed, the contracts that they've signed for, and then what does that mean for the Yankees in value that they have to give out? What is Correa going to ask for now, and what would that mean for the Yankees? And if they do want to trade for Olsen or trades aren't happening before this, what would that mean? Logistically, what can a rational fan's brain take from these signings of other players and use it to how it would affect the future of the Yankees offseason? But no, the fandom of just screaming and yelling and just crying and whining is not for me. And I know I'm in the minority on social media, probably majority of people who have human conversations, because on Twitter, it's just I could tweet right now, how's the weather? And people were like, fuck the Yankees. It's what are you doing? It's November.
And that's where
the lockout's coming, and then they can sign people. The A+, everyone wants Correa and Olsen. They're still out there. Story, still out. Nothing has really happened that bad. It's just the Yankees aren't in it, but the Red Sox haven't done anything. The Dodgers haven't done anything. A lot of teams haven't done anything.
And that's where
stop crying all the time.
Me and BBD are coming from the other side. We're hot. We're just pissed off. No, man, it's very true. I do think the only thing where I think you can give credo to the people is a lot of people are dancing right now. You're right. You know, there's a few teams that haven't really done much. I mean, hey, Dodgers got Heen Dog, so okay, a little jealousy.
We got Joely.
A little jealousy coming out from Yankee fans there. I mean, Heen Dog signed for 4 times what Joely did. So yeah, you're right. I mean, the A+ plan is there. There's just so many teams in baseball having fun right now, which is really cool, and we're talking about that on Talkin' Baseball, and check it out. So, I mean, I get watching the dance. The school dance is happening, and a lot of people are getting picked off. That being said, you're right. I mean, the top 3 gals or fellas that we wanted to dance with going into the dance, they're still there. So you're right. You have to be patient if you believed in those plans and that's what you wanted. And a lot of
not
signs,
even patience, man. It's November 30th.
right?
Like,
But
when did Cole sign?
We are dealing.
When did they trade for Stanton?
We're dealing with a different world with this current deadline. Everything else is there, and we've talked about it. We talked about content, and we'll probably end the show with some of that. But we're coming up on a barren winter for baseball yet again. We just went through the COVID time, so I understand why people are frustrated that way. And I guess the other thing is that they are seeing these massive contracts being signed in front of them, and, one could happen in the next 30 hours or whatever it is. But
just be mad when there's something to be mad about. When we go to February 1 and they didn't sign anyone and they didn't make any moves, let's all be mad. But I'm not in the business of just like waking up mad on the journey. Like, let's get mad at the end when nothing's there, but nothing's changed. Correa was going to be the last shortstop to sign. If that's who they want, that was always going to happen at the end. Correa wasn't going to sign before Simeon or Seager.
I don't know. Aren't we both on the record saying a lot of guys set the market? Like, a lot of times the biggest fish will set the market for the other guys.
No, because Correa wants to be the highest paid shortstop. He wants to beat Lindor's contract.
Right.
He wants to beat everyone's contract. He's going to sign at the end.
Okay.
Story probably wants to see what Baez is getting and then go up there. Like, it's all there. Correa also has first-time agents, really. Like that. That's a new agency, and if they mess him up, they're in trouble because they just formed, I think, this year, and he's their first guy that they got to go get him signed. So they're going to be pretty cautious and pretty safe with it. But, I mean, man, there's a lot of time for stuff to happen.
Sure.
Now, we could be mad because the Yankees were bad last year and they had serious needs. They have like glaring needs. I'm not saying they don't. They need to do like 4 moves minimum, big ones. 2 of them need to be huge. If they get Kiner Falefa to play short and that's their move, I'm not happy about it. But I'm not going to get all worked up about it because I saw one rumor. Like I don't know. But people just like being angry.
Oh, sure. And yeah, you can't let the angry ones get to you. I think it's okay to have concern because the like you said, our dance partners are still out there, but it is getting low. I mean, after Correa and Story, I know there's been a lot of Andrelton Simmons jokes going around the office. Not even jokes. I mean, Kiner Falefa, like you just referenced, that's today's rumor. So I think you can, like everything you're saying, yeah.
They got to get one of Correa or Story. They have to. Otherwise, then I'll be upset. But it's still just it's still a possibility. So why would I be upset about something that's not certain?
And I mean,
once they don't land one of those 2, yeah, let's all be upset.
And why would you be upset about dugout mugs? They currently, through the holidays right now, they just did their Black Friday, Cyber Monday, which is crazy. They're still running it. They're going 30% off with code JOMBOY. They're actually hooking it up with us. Code JOMBOY. You guys know dugout mugs. I got the metal one right here. Been drinking from it. Trying to make it part of my signature. If you heard us on Talkin' Baseball, giving out our Silver Daisy awards, I mean, the dugout mug is the Silver Daisy of all awards. Those who know No, they got the Woodies, they got the shot glass, they got the wine glasses. Grab 2, 3, or 4 knob shots. Ooh, I like that. Just in every stocking. A knob shot per stocking. That makes sense. Over 18,000 5-star reviews. It's the perfect gift for baseball fans. So go to dugoutmugs.com. Promo code JOMBOY, 30% off.
Francisco Cervelli joining the Padres.
I know. That's that came
fun.
across the timeline, and that's that could arguably the toughest news to take so far.
Correa and Story, they got to get one of those guys. I'd still like kind of fluff and trade him and then move Gio, and then you got a guy who can play short, can play third, can play everywhere, and is a little better defensive or a little better, and brings a different offensive palette to the batter's box than Gio, and can play short and third a little better. I don't know, but yeah, they have to get Correa or Story. They still can. If they don't, I'll be upset then. But like, man, it's like I just reopened our YouTube chat, and it's just a wine fest. It's just like people they lied to us. No, they didn't. They said that shortstop and center field were number 1 and 2 priority. Come February 10th, we'll see if they lied or not. But they haven't lied yet. They didn't say shortstop and center field are priority, and we're going to get them done before anything else, before December. You're just whining to whine. Just wait it out. You're just being what people hate about like WFAN callers and New York sports fans.
It's true. And yeah, the Kiner Falefa stuff that is interesting. That came out this morning. If you don't know his full story, Texas Rangers signed Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, big boy contracts, all part of the chaos. Seager 10 years, $325. So we'll talk about what that means for other contracts. But Kiner Falefa, he was a guy, if you remember, a couple years ago, he ended up playing some catcher for them. And then they kind of liked his heart, so they moved him to third. He was nasty there, and now he's become a stud defensive shortstop who also he slaps it around like the stat line.
How does that happen?
I mean, man, that's one of those things in baseball. I don't know. It sounds like little league stuff.
And I think he did play infield the first several years of his minor league career. Then they switched him to catcher as a path to the big leagues. But the switch back to third and then third to short is nuts.
It's kind of nice. He made his deal with the devil, with the Rangers. Like, all right, I'll play a little catcher if you get me to the show. And then he did enough to stick around. And I think the interesting side of Kiner Falefa, because you're right, Jim. I mean, he's a different piece than what the Yankees have. He's kind of a defense first. Although, he slaps it around a little bit. Not impressive. He won a Gold Glove in the shortened 2020 season. But I could see the Yankees grabbing him and saying we got our stopgap shortstop for a year, and flash Volpe and Peraza and use that as a negotiating tactic with a Correa or Story. Like, no, we just traded for this guy. A little. People would call it the Bubba Crosby effect, but and then if you do sign one of those guys, then you have kind of a guy that's proven he's got a good glove, he's willing to move around and do whatever for the team, and right now he, that's the kind of piece the Yankees are currently missing. He stole 20 bags last year, so as we look into building out this roster. A guy that played 158 games, had 172 hits, swiped 20 bags, 271, 312, 670 OPS. Not impressive, but, Wade's gone. And that's, a guy like that is going to end up on this roster at some point.
Some point, yeah. Be interesting. And no trades are really going to happen before the trade market. They're going to wait out. And whatever teams didn't shell out big money for prospects will be kind of cornered into spending more capital on trades. So I think the trades are going to happen. Might be fun as soon as the lockout ends. They're just boom, 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 trades. That might be the tail end of this. Free agents at the one bookend, trades at the other.
Yeah, that's and so we've talked about it a little bit on here, but we're coming up Wednesday, 11:59. So Wednesday at midnight or first thing Thursday morning, depending how you do that. Missed it was supposed to see the debut of Superbad and screwed up those times once. So those have always been tough for me. But, that ends the CBA. So, again, no more free agent contracts, no trades.
What
no
happened
anything.
with you in Superbad?
So Superbad came out, and I wanted to go to the midnight showing, and it listed it at 12 a.m. on Thursday night, which 12 a.m. Thursday, or 12 a.m. Friday. So we went on a Thursday night, I believe, if I'm remembering this correctly, because we're like, oh, yeah, the midnight show is Friday, 12 a.m., but they were doing that as the Friday into Saturday midnight showing, which is a little confusing.
I think you're right.
I was technically right. By law, I was right, but the way the movie theater did it, I was not.
They messed you up. I'm on your side.
It's tough. It was Tom Piccolo's is his last night before going away to Bucknell.
Yeah, that came out in freshman year of college. Very on point.
Yeah, right before.
Since it was about going away to college.
Good timing. Love.
What is love?
So where do you want to go, Timbo? Do you want to talk about the signings that did happen the past couple days and how they affect Story, Correa?
Yeah, Story and Correa. Yeah. So, I mean, Correa's looking at 10 years, 330 to 350. I mean, him and Seager are the same age. I think Seager's stats are a little bit better, and Seager comes from the left side, but Seager's going to have to move off short, and Correa will probably last that short longer than Seager, so that adds more value. So maybe the Francisco Lindor contract of 35 a year for 10. I think it was 350 for 10 years. Maybe they're not going to break that. I definitely think that's their ask. I think they want it to be bigger than the Lindor contract. Everyone always wants to one-up everyone. But that's what you're looking at if you want Correa. You're looking at 10 years around 350. Do you care about the money? I mean, you really shouldn't since there's no cap. But the years, I don't like 10-year contracts.
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan of them anymore. I don't know. He's 20. He's about to turn 28, so you'd be locking him up till he's 38. Yeah, I think you have to go 10 years, and I'm not really a fan of those, but that's what you're going to probably have to do to land Correa, it seems, is shell out a decade for 300 plus.
He just turned 27 at the end of the season, so
okay.
We get one more year of the 20s, but the point's the same.
Yeah, and that's Seager. Seager's offensive stats would slap people in the face. I did it with Story when I kind of joined the Trevor Story bandwagon a couple weeks ago, because his offensive numbers are on point, if not better than Correa's. Seager's numbers, I mean, slash lines. He's got OPS is crazy, but he will be a third baseman sooner than later. I mean, there's people that already think he should be a third baseman. But that's Texas's problem to figure out. 10 years, 325. He's had some injury history too. So is Correa. And then Simeon, he got 7 for 175. If you don't know, that number changes mostly due to age. Simeon's 31. So that's his deal. It comes
also playing second, but I don't know how much that changes it.
Yeah, we weren't sure at the time, but it seemed like that seemed to make the most sense. And then Javi Baez this morning, that drops 6 for 140. Is that the official? I know there was
it's like
a seventh year option going around or something like that.
Yeah, 6 for 140 is the number they're saying. So 6 for 140. So he's getting 23 a year. My guess is that Story, who's a year older than Baez, I believe, is 29 and Baez is 28. I don't know what Story is going to come down to, but I think I say with kind of confidence that Correa is looking for 10 years, 300 mil. Story, I don't think he's going to get 10 years. He's probably looking to get what Simeon got, but I think as the market thins out, teams may try to do like a 5-year, 25 plus a year type thing, because he's 29. that gives him the same, like, we're getting you to your same age that Baez got, but we'll give you more per year. But I really don't know where Story's going to land. But I don't think he's going to get. It's not going to be 10 years, 300.
Two things. Trevor Story turned 29 in the middle of November. Javi Baez turns 29 tomorrow.
How about that?
Also, Jimmy, I think you need to switch the mic input thing on Rendezvous.
Rendezvous. Yeah, I think Trevor Story is going to beat out Baez. I think he'll probably beat out Simeon, is my guess. Again, he's going to stay at shortstop. Although Simeon, I mean, man, did he hit free agency at the right time, and Story didn't necessarily. So that's going to be interesting.
But can you hear? Is this better?
That's a lot better. Yeah.
So beat him out in what way? Like Simeon got 25 a year. So I'm saying that teams might go higher than 25 for Story AAV, but just lessen the years if the market thins.
The years are going to be there, man. I think they are. It's Simeon's 31, Story's 29. Baez kind of exact same thing. So I have personally, and I think a lot of experts' opinions, had Story outdoing Baez.
I agree with that.
So that's where, I mean, Baez 6 for 140. That's Story's starting point. I think he probably wants at least another year, and probably more money on top of it, if not.
Yeah, I was just saying the AAV. I just look at the AAV and say it's going to be higher, per year. It's kind of how my brain works: is what are they getting per year, and then just up that in some way. But yeah, well. Then if Story wants 7 years and he wants to outdo Simeon, then maybe it's like 190 over 7, or 200 over 7.
Yeah, I bet I'd assume his agent's asking for 2. It starts with the 2. And I guess so that's the other part of this conversation that you and I have been trying to figure out a little bit. I saw you on the Twitter sphere this morning. Is, these are big boy numbers. We're starting to talk about real free agency signing. Our guy Chris Rose rotation, his fun fact he always likes to flaunt. The Cleveland Guardians now, formerly the Cleveland I-Words, their biggest free agent signing in their team's history is Edwin Encarnacion for $60 million. So we're talking about 2 shortstops who are about to get paid. Who do you think is actually in on shortstops? Yankees, Houston, Dodgers? I don't know.
I tried to ask Twitter, and I had to tweet it out like 3 different times to get actual answers and not just like people being mad about nothing. There were some good ones when I refined it, like some sneaky ones of who would pay. And a lot of people, when I asked this, and I was just polling people and then trying to weed through the answers, a couple people put the same thought out there. Like Correa is Yankees or Astros. Like those are really the 2 teams that are kind of will do that, but I don't think the Astros give out long-term contracts. That hasn't been their MO. I don't think Correa, if that's what he wants, has a lot. I think Story has a lot of sneaky options that people were sending out there, be it the Blue Jays,
Phillies,
Red Sox. And I think there was someone else that had it. Where if his price drops down,
Angels,
Anaheim. Yeah, Anaheim. That was the other one. So that's where Story's market might be really interesting because there might be sneaky people involved where Correa, if he wants 10 for 300, like, what are his options?
So shower thoughts, Jakey in parentheses.
Yeah.
That means, this doesn't get clipped or shared. This stays with the family. And Jim, I didn't know about Correa's new agency thing. Houston's not giving him the 10-year massive deal. They've pretty much already told him that. The Yankees still have options. And B, if we're talking about the Yankees and Brian Cashman in their front office negotiating versus Carlos Correa and a new agency, I mean, it's the one Billy Epler was like chosen to lead.
and now he's went to the Mets. It's
I'm just saying Correa could end up in kind of a weird spot. And like what you were saying about, patience and Yankees fans, it's November, all of that. There's a world, Jake saying, that we're going to be sitting here in February and Correa's not going to be signed because, again, my dance equation, I think it could be the Yankees and Correa staring at each other where Correa says, I want that monster contract, and the Yankees are saying, well, no one else is going to give you that monster contract, so let's talk numbers. I think that is a little Yankee-focused. I think there's a little Yankee bias in there. It's not crazy. I mean, go back to Cano when he was the, Jay-Z's agency's first guy, and remember how crazy that free agency was if you want to start tying things in like that. I don't know. I guess that's the thing. I really don't know. I mean, like you said, the Dodgers have been really quiet. Could they convince someone like Correa to play third base? Justin Turner's on the last year of his contract. Trey Turner played second base for them last year. I guess I don't fully believe that thought process because there are still too many big fish that want to make a splash. Didn't necessarily think it would be Correa, but they do want to make a splash. But it's an interesting kind of mental exercise.
Yeah, I really don't know what Correa's market is. As all these other players fall, it's almost like, was it a bad time to be one of the best options?
Because all the other options wanted to get signed.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, this full Jakey Dream scenario, we're still in parentheses, people. Chill out about it. We hope the Yankees kind of attacked a 2-year window when we originally talked Verlander and all that stuff. Matt Olson, he would be on a 2-year deal if the Yankees could figure that out. Imagine if Correa signed like just a monster 2-year deal, like 2 for $80, and the Yankees were like, yeah, let's do that. Again, that's not going to happen. That's not.
It would still have to be like a 5-year deal and like opt-outs and stuff. But yeah. Cool. Yeah,
so like the specific agents, I think it's WME, so it's William Morris Endeavor's new baseball agency, and they picked some big people from Excel and from CAA.
So they're not flying blind necessarily.
Yeah. They're long, but this is their first time. I was trying to look up who their other clients are, and like the only publicly listed ones, and usually you list the ones you want to brag about, right? Was Garrett Whitlock, Chasen Shreve.
You just named my favorite players now.
And someone else. So I'm like, so my brain is like, wow, like they need to really announce themselves with some, and Spencer Turnbull. Like those are their 4 that they named. So my thought is they want to kind of make sure that they wait this out, be patient, and get the best, which is naturally how it works anyway. But yeah, man, it might be Correa and the Yankees staring at each other in the face at the end. Like maybe they're both trying to wait each other out so there's no more options. But it's a risky game. It's a risky game to play because the Yankees need to land one of Correa or Story. I think so let's have then like a rational thought about if they don't land Correa's Story, how do they have a successful offseason? Is it possible?
I mean, I would tell them to go to DraftKings and play some big boy bets, Like I would go to, if I was the Yankees, I'd say, hey, Al, why don't you give me $100 million? You want a good bet? Patriots. And then he'd be kind of confused. He'd be like, how'd you get in here? What are you even talking about? And I'd be like, Hal, I'm telling you about DraftKings, man. It's America's I got BBD there. It's their official sports betting partner of the NFL. And they're giving new customers a bet $1. And if any team scores, you win $100 in free bets. And if Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still get in on their daily fantasy sports contest with huge cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code JOMBOY. Bet $1 on any team to score. Win $100 in free bets if they score. You score with promo code JOMBOY this week at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, PA only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gaming problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. To have a successful offseason without getting Story or Correa.
Yeah, especially saying shortstop's an area of need.
Right.
And it is. It is an area of need. And so there is a thought process out there that, well, they really like Volpe or Peraza, and they only want a stopgap shortstop. Is there a trade? Is there a signing for a stopgap shortstop? And then what? Because you need a shortstop.
Yeah.
And it can't be Simmons. Can't.
So
and then surrounding that, what would they need to do?
Right.
At first base and at center field and maybe the starting pitching to make Yankee fans be like, you know what? We didn't get a long-term fix at shortstop, but I like this. Because that's tough, man.
Yeah. So let me go free agents first, just because that's easier and that'll give people some idea of some of the pool. And we should tell the people, after the CBA is up, wherever the Yankees land, we are going to do a few more of our first base type deep dive episodes. So we'll see it, probably be shortstop, probably be utility. We talk center field, so starting pitching. So there will be deep dives on those coming. I mean, Jim, the free agent pool ain't what it used to be. I mean, if you take out Carlos Correa and Trevor Story, I'm going off Fangraphs, crowdsourced medium total contracts. I mean, there's one big name, but it's a name that nobody thinks is actually available, Freddie Freeman, which, we kind of can't – you can't even let yourself think about that. That's something you can't dream of until there's ink on paper. So after that, man, I mean, it's Chris Bryant, it's Clayton Kershaw, it's Rodon, Stroman, Castellanos, Chris Taylor, Schwarber, Rizzo. And I mean, from there, it really drops into kind of another level of free agents. So on that side of it, I mean, if they don't get Story or Correa, that means Brian Cashman thinks Peraza or Volpe is a bona fide stud for the next decade. And
or they just missed out, or they just fucked up.
Or they fucked up. But, I mean, you can only fuck up that much if you think those guys are real.
Those guys have a chance to be a long-term answer.
So, that would be the look deep in your heart and figure it out conversation you need to have, because, guess what the Oakland A's are asking for right now? And you mentioned this on Talkin' Baseball, Jim. They're going to ask for the world, because the first base free agents haven't moved yet. Freddie Freeman hasn't signed. Rizzo hasn't signed. So those positional needs for the other teams around the league, there's no need for the Yankees to make that move or Oakland to make that move. So they're asking for Volpe and Peraza right now. Probably both.
There's no reason. I don't think the A's should be even taking calls on Olsen until Freeman and Rizzo are signed.
Right.
And because in my head, if they can't land Olsen, like in my brain, if they can't land Olsen in a trade, that they might just sign Rizzo for a short term and run it back, and that's like their safety. So if I'm thinking that, the A's may be thinking the Yankees are thinking that. And once Rizzo goes somewhere else and Freeman's back on the Braves, and the Yankees still want a first baseman, like they're going to have to go get Olsen, because what are the other options? There's not another option out there. So if I'm the A's, I'm not even, and that was a report we got, that the A's are working at slow speed deliberately. So I'm not even entertaining calls until those two are off the board, because then whoever's looking is more desperate.
I mean, it's a classic case of supply and demand. And I mean,
Yeah.
CCSU School of Business, I think I got C- in both econ classes. Not to brag, not to peacock. But yeah, so that's the other thing that we're saying here. Olsen ain't happening right now. The shoes need to drop before that, because then Oakland gets better demand. And, I know we think about it next year. We think about the next series. Like, that's what we do here at Talkin' Yanks. And let's say Peraza or Volpe is the truth. We've got some connections in the organization, and what do we expect them to say? But we've heard a lot of people, they would look us in the eye and say both of those guys are going to be complete studs. Guess what? I think there's people that would say that about a lot of minor leaguers and a lot of organizations, and MLB doesn't work like that. But if one of them is the real deal, you can't, what's Cashman supposed to do? He's not supposed to just flip him for Matt Olson right now because the fan base is yelling and they're mad on the interstate. So that being said, what do the Yankees do? What makes us happy if it's no Story, no Correa? I mean, it's Matt Olson or Freddie Freeman at first, right? Like, you'd need an absolute game changer at first base.
Yep.
I mean, the Brian Reynolds Pittsburgh conversation, just like that guy, again, we tell people here and talking baseball, center field is a different position in Major League Baseball, and what he did last year was special. He's a special young switch hitter in center field. Like, that would be something that moved the needle. And then, man, it's when you put the whole offseason in a bucket. So if there's 4 impact moves, like you were saying before, and maybe that's, remember during the season when I said 5 things need to change to make the Yankees a playoff team? Maybe there's 4 impact moves that need to happen, and if those actually happen, and it's Brian Reynolds, it's Matt Olson, it's Luis Castillo, it's something else, and then you have a Kiner Falefa at shortstop to give you a Gold Glove type effort. I know no one likes saying the Andrelton word, but if those guys are the true stopgap for 1 year because the other kids are the truth and we've made enough happen around it, we'd obviously buy into that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just who plays short?
That's a big one.
And if you're getting a guy that's like all glove, whatever, and you dumped Wade and Velasquez at the beginning of the offseason, that's just a bad vibe. But
I mean, Peraza at some point should be Major League ready next year.
has more than a chance to debut at least.
Or has a chance.
Yeah,
to be.
but you can't rush them, and that can't be the plan.
Right.
And like Andrelton Simmons is a great glove, but
It's kind of not even that great a glove anymore. He's still very good and capable at short, but
he's not a good glove anymore.
it's not like the all-time great glove he used to have. He's 32. He's taken a pretty clear step back. He's still above average.
You'd want to bring in a short.
Coming off, like.
And he just had like his worst offensive year.
You'd want to bring in a shortstop that a Kiner
Below average hitter.
a Kiner Falefa, a Freddie Galvis is still out there, Iglesias. You'd want to bring someone who's major league enough that if they hit 9th, they don't hurt your lineup. And if they truly believed in a Peraza, it's someone you'd want Peraza to have beaten them out by midseason if he's really the person that the Yankees believe he should be. But yeah, I mean that's a tough ask.
Yeah. And then like as far as trades not happening till the after the lockout. Well, the Yankees plan on making a lot of trades. Like they tried to trade Voit. They've been pretty heavy-handed that they're going to try and move Voit. Like that's a trade where they expect something in return to help them somewhere. Not a huge thing, right? But they got prospect capital because their whole system just jumped up in 1 year, where a lot of guys got value that they didn't have last year. They acted on that at the deadline last year, but they still got more they can do, especially if they're trying to attack this window. So, you wonder what the formula is between signings and trades and how much they plan to get done via trades versus signings, because the signing flurry is happening now. But maybe they're really eyeing the trade market and more, and the guys they want to sign, one of Correa Story, if that's who it is, like, they're still available. So that's just like, we don't know everything. I'll get upset when we need to get upset, because even Cashman said it in his press conference, like, we were a brutal watch last year. Like, you need to get athletic. You need a shortstop. So I'm just not carrying my pitchfork around for 2 months.
I'm happy for that. That would be daunting. Probably hurt your back after a little bit.
I mean, look at our chat right now. Like, look at Twitter.
Yeah.
People are crying that Cashman lied to them.
They're jealous. They see other people dancing. They see their little brother is dancing with one of the oldest, sexiest girls who's ever been at the school. But she's leaving for college in a couple years, and like, she's gonna mess around at college and not treat him right, and she's kind of using him.
Seager was the surprise one, because I was into adding Seager. Simeon, I don't think we ever thought it was going to happen, especially for that number.
Yeah.
Verlander, I didn't want to happen. 50 mil.
Starling Marte for 4 years, we wouldn't have been particularly. It was never like a demand anyway.
Marte would have been a good 2-year signing if he ever got to that. Mets gave him 4 years. He can move to corner outfield with them or DH as he ages. The Yankees have corner outfielders and DHs locked up for the foreseeable future.
Forever.
So Starling Marte for a 4-year deal didn't that puzzle piece didn't fit into the Yankees puzzle. So that didn't kill us. Like, which signing has killed you? Or is it just the fact that there's signings and the Yankees haven't done one? Because that's not an actual, that's just like feeling left out, not actually missing out.
Well, I think it's a combination of that and going back to Harper Machado and some of those feelings. Like, I think, we knew the Yankees were going to be on Garrett Cole, right? Like, he was Cashman's white whale. We had all of that. And then it happened at winter meetings, right? So that was first week of December, second week of December.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, and it does turn, we keep saying it's November, it's December tomorrow. So, like, I understand why people are antsy, and, the new CBA, everyone else is dancing. And like you're saying, I mean, it's just the difference of, and it's kind of how the internet works. Like, if the Yankees, if it's spring training, the lockout's over, and the Yankees do have Simmons or Kiner Falefa, these people want to point at their tweets now that's saying, like, I could have told you in November that these Yankees weren't going to do anything. Like, they don't operate like that anymore. And that's why they do it.
Yeah.
I think the other part that's getting people a little bit is, like, there haven't been, like, rumors there, and the Yankees don't usually let stuff leak anyway. We kind of just don't know if they were in on anybody. We know they weren't in on Scherzer at all, and we don't know if they were in on anyone. Everyone assumes they weren't interested.
They could have been in on Scherzer.
People are reporting they weren't in at all on Scherzer, at least him specifically. Like Seager, they might have been there in the last 5 minutes. We have no idea.
We don't know anything.
We know nothing. That's the beauty of all of this.
Yankees are in on everyone and not in on anyone at all times.
That's heavy.
Because that's how reporters work.
And it's like kind of their job to be in on everyone until you're not. Do we want to talk non-tender at all? Because that's actually coming up at 8 p.m. tonight. Chris Gittens, hard-hitting Chris Gittens, him and the Yankees both said goodbye to each other. The way the reporter said it was Chris Gittens told the Yankees he wanted to play overseas, which
a guy like him can make good money over there.
he can't. He's like the perfect overseas guy. Like kind of struggles with.
He got
speed,
his debut over
hits
here.
The
He
ball
did
really
it.
hard. So he is off the.
The
40
Yankees
man.
the Yankees have groomed some fantastic Nippon League
Nippon.
first base mashers.
Um,
Japan and the
Tyler
KBO.
Austin.
I think Tyler Austin might be coming back, getting ready for that 2022 All-Star run.
Pick him up.
He was nasty last year over there, and for Team USA, silver medalist Tyler Austin. So Gittens is gone. He's off the 40-man. Doesn't really mean much. We kind of thought
Spot's
that was
open.
coming either way.
Well, I mean, it could mean a spot's open for something. It means they have no first baseman depth at all.
Right.
Like every first baseman. So Gittin got majority of the starts at AAA. He's now gone. Dermis Garcia got majority of the starts at AA. He's gone. He's a minor league free agent. I think our buddy K-Mac got the majority of the starts at high A. They released him at the end of last year. So they have no minor league first baseman. That's how I was trying to tweet that today. Just saying, like, be ready. Like, everywhere the Jose Peraza signing kind of like made people upset, even though it's kind of just nothing. But be ready for some minor league first baseman signings, because right now they just don't have anyone to play at AA or AAA.
Yeah, I mean, Cannon and Henson and Rumfield, they're all into their 20s, so like one of those guys is probably going to end up at AA. But you're definitely right. I mean, AAA, and we've seen it the past couple years. You know, Dietrich. How much time did we talk about Derek Dietrich? You know, they are going to invite a bunch of, and for lack of a better term, Greg Bird types to spring training. Jay Bruce, hot, enjoying retirement. So
Tyler Austin, Greg Bird, Ref Snyder, bring them all back.
reunion.
McBroom.
It's a family reunion. Who else we introducing? You know me.
BBD.
He left. He's peeing.
I know. Damn.
Peeing out his nose. Dude, bug bites on my foot are like back. I probably have to see a doctor, but
I saw a doctor today
how were
for
they?
my arm, for my shoulder.
Oh yeah, you got a cortisone shot. You healing up? Are you worse?
Yeah. No, it's getting better. Some
Okay.
physical therapy. I told him I was a blitzball player, so this
Mm.
is like a serious deal.
Kind of is a
All
serious
right. Ryan Otto donated to the chat, said, what's frustrating? Everyone focusing on short start market when we have catching, first base, center field, starting pitcher, major league ready depth and athleticism problem and done nothing. Yeah, but there's still time to do stuff. That's the thing. Like, it's kind of just like more of a life philosophy. Like, why be mad until you have to be mad?
Amen.
We don't have to be mad right now, because all of that could happen. I mean, they're gonna keep Gary. They're not gonna non-tender him.
Yeah, I think the people probably need to hear that again, and especially I know people were talking potentially Yan Gomes. Yan Gomes, 34-year-old Yan Gomes signed a 2-year, $13 million deal today with the Chicago Cubs. People, the catcher market, it's not there. I think Roberto Perez signed with the Pirates for like 3 years this morning or something. So having Gary Sanchez under contract for 1 season, that's like a gem. And I know that might blow a lot of your uncles' minds, and a lot of you people listening to this probably understand it. There aren't other options.
Having a guy with the chance to be special, even if he isn't or whatever, it's rare.
Even if Gary ends up net average, like a 1.5 WAR player, which I think he was last year, that's a win at catcher. So I don't know. I am interested to see Voit, man. Like you said, I know the Yankees want to trade him. He's got a bunch of stats, but there's always surprises every year. Like Steven Brault, our guy from the Chris Rose rotation the other day, a young lefty pitcher, $2 million. We assumed he was going to be traded this year, and they just let him go. So that's where I don't know if they were worried about the trade market. I mean, we're comparing the Pittsburgh Pirates and the New York Yankees now, but I guess if it happened, I wouldn't be like shocked. I'd be like, that just fucking sucks.
Yeah. No idea.
Wait, dear.
Someone just put, stop justifying this crap. Not justifying not signing a shortstop. I'm just saying that they may still sign a shortstop.
They're hot on Gary right now.
People got to get over that.
One more year. Maybe that's what we'll make some one more year Gary shirts.
They definitely, I don't think they can do Gary and Higgy next year. And I love Higgy, but I don't think that could be the two catchers going in. If you're keeping Gary, you need a real threat behind him that can offensively and defensively like really scare Gary, or just help the team for like long stretches.
Yeah, I mean the other side of that is if that person, I mean, think about how much momentum Higgy has with the team and Yankees universe. I mean, that could fully end Gary as well. Higgy end of April was our starting catcher for a little bit last year, right? I don't think they're addressing catcher. I've already put that out of my head. Especially because of the Cole Higgy stuff. I think they're just running that back and hopefully, we said, 5 things around that change.
Yeah. Again, it's not a Cole Higgy thing. It's a Cole, not the starting catcher thing.
Which is Higgy.
But whoever the next backup would be his personal catcher. He does it everywhere.
Yep.
They had 2 new catchers, whichever one's not the starter would be. It doesn't care about Higgy. It's not about Gary.
Bench Gary. Trick him.
Higgy actually isn't horrible offensively. I don't know. Anything else? Well, we got the DFA tonight. And then it's going to be 2 months of nothing. So, or the not DFA, the non-tender tonight, 2 months of nothing. I'll just remind everyone that it starts again at the end. Like, it's almost nice to get it bookmarked and then see, okay, who's still out there? What trades are available? And then as soon as the wall comes down, they can go into that.
Yeah,
I don't believe the Yankees' plan is to run back the same team they had last year. I believe that they are going to try to improve shortstop. There's still people out there to do it. They're trying to make a trade for center field or a center fielder help, or because you need more than one guy that can play center field. Even if Hicks is there, you need more than one guy that can do it. So they just need. They fundamentally cannot roll into next year with the crew they have right now. So everyone that keeps saying like they're really just going to run back, that's the plan. They're like, well, they can't. They can't. If they do, then yeah, I'll be more mad than you, and I'll just reserve the rights. But right now, like that's not even an option. They can't go into a season with one center fielder and one shortstop available.
Yeah.
They can't go into the season with Gio as a starting shortstop. Like they cannot do that. So there's no way that's their plan. Now, do they execute their plan? Do they get the good people at those positions to fill those gaps? That's what we got to wait and see. But, if Hicks is the only one that can start at center field, but otherwise it's Judge or Gallo subbing in, like that's awful. They know they can't do that. If Gio or Andrelton Simmons, like if that's the two on the 26 man that can play short, that's awful. That's not acceptable. But the deadline tonight isn't the end of the roster, but people are acting like it is.
People are scared. And yeah, I wonder. That's where I wonder if Chris Taylor ends up back on their radar. But the thing that makes me always stop is literally every team in baseball is saying that because Chris Taylor is so versatile and so valuable that because it is thinking back to the way Cashman said it, if Aaron Hicks looks like good Aaron Hicks, you want that in center field. But if he has Chris Taylor as a potential center field option, and if Hicks is healthy, okay, we can move Chris Taylor wherever. Or if Hicks is hurt, Taylor can play center field for 2 months. But again,
I still like Chris Taylor. Go get me one of Correa Story.
bang.
Get me Chris Taylor. Trade for Olsen. Get like a 4th, 5th starter just to throw him in the bunch. Call it an offseason.
Done.
I think like my plan that I wanted is still on the table. That's why I'm not worried.
Yeah, there's options. It's just
Trade
a
for
matter.
Olsen. Get Story. I'd rather Story, I think. Which, I don't know. He brings stolen bases. We got the position.
Jim, I mean, the honest truth about it is nobody knows. I mean, Corey Seager could go out and have a Hall of Fame career, or he could be a warning to like don't give out big contracts. Like that's where it's all a guessing game. Whether it's Story for 7 years, whether it's Correa for 10, whether it's any of it. Starling Marte could go out and have 4 amazing years for the Mets. He really could. He was nasty last year. Or he could get old pretty quick, and it could be an awful contract. Max Scherzer could win 2 Cy Youngs in the next 3 years. Or he could get old and not look like Max Scherzer. So, I don't know. I think everybody just wants to dance, man, and that's that part has been a little bummer. I will not take that away from the people. There's a lot of people having a fun time right now. I mean, if you're a Texas Rangers fan, Taylor Hearn texted me the other day. He was like, how about him? And I was like, shut up, Taylor. Come play for the Yankees. And he's like, I'm not in control of that, Jake. And then that's when I was on the boat with Steinbrenner, and he was confused about the DraftKings stuff. It was for 15 minutes, everyone was like, what's happening?
I will give I do understand in principle the frustration behind knowing at least like 2 months of no moves happening. You'd like to have one thing answered. I think we all agree it'd be more fun.
Give us a little something to chew on. Give us Taylor. Come on. Come on.
Cares. You get him now. You get him January 25th. What the fuck is the difference?
We can talk about him for 2 months.
Yeah.
We can talk about him.
No
Twitter's
difference.
at least a tick less
If they're there day one spring training, there's no difference when
you did it.
when they got the tweet out.
Even like day 3, if they're there and doing some of the running drills.
There's no difference when they tweet out it's official, as long as they're there in spring training.
All right. Well, we'll
no one gets to brag about, but we signed Seager before you signed Story.
Ha!
No one cares.
I would brag about that. Just in a fake bar fight, just to confuse him for a minute.
No.
We signed him first.
We've done first before.
We will be back if
Mark Sommer says I'm out of touch.
Don't do that to either of yourselves. If the Yankees do make a big move, we'll be back live. We are on trade deadline mode. So if something does happen, we'll come to you. Otherwise, we'll be updating you guys with whatever happens at the what is it? Is it the non-tender deadline?
At minimum, there'll be some updates there.
Andujar might get non-tendered. I mean, Gary's the big one, but I don't think he will be.
Don't rule out Voit.
Are there any
I don't
sneaky
think they'll
pitchers?
do it, but
Are there any sneaky pitchers that would get?
The one I saw that would be the sneaky one is like Lakey, but he's so cheap. I don't see why they'd do it.
Yeah, that would be.
But he's the only one that's like, they just have a bunch of relievers, so they might need more optionable options.
Well, how much is Litke gonna make?
It wouldn't be like a money saving thing. That's why I don't think it would happen. That's the only one that like some nerd articles are like, this one has a chance, but They,
Do you
even
think-
then, they're like,
Because
no.
he is technically in arbitration.
He's
right?
like,
'Cause
he's like has 2 years of arb left, and
I don't think
he
he'll
is
do that.
old and not option. I would bet against it.
baseball contracts.
But there's just always a weird one that you didn't see coming. So
Voit, but I don't. And Voigt's still got. His offensive stats are really good, so I think he's got value. I don't think they're gonna non-tender him.
the issue
think-
with
I
Voit
think-
is they currently have 0 first baseman. I mean, yeah, DJ, but his value is at other positions.
I think Andujar's a real one. I think Gittins was a real one, and that's maybe they had this offer from Japan, and before to avoid the bad press of getting non-tendered,
They
he's
moved
like,
on.
you know what? I'll just do this. Someone in the chat says Jom doesn't understand that other teams can sign the free agents we want.
But they
I
didn't,
didn't
do
think-
that yet.
I didn't think of that at all, man. I didn't even consider it. The free agents we want are still available. That's my point.
It's true.
Like the shortstop options are Correa and Story still available. Chris Taylor, I want him as Rover. He's still available. And then Matt Olson trade still available.
I don't have a
Not
count
a
for
lot has
either of
been-
you. You're both right.
Not a lot's been taken off. When those options are not Yankees and the Yankees haven't made a move, I'll be very upset because that's utterly ridiculous.
Huge.
Just hasn't happened yet because there's still all of December and January and then part of February.
Feb.
And in theory, March too.
March.
That'll get
So,
weird, but
See how long the lockout is. Oh, lockout's gonna eat bugs.
got some ideas for this show.
Yeah. We'll let them know next
It'll be
episode.
dude, it'll be nice not to have any like rumors.
Oh, I think there'll still be rumors, unfortunately.
Wouldn't that be like really bad?
I'd take the over on 1.5 rumors.
Think about what we talked about yesterday. That's what everyone else is talking about.
But I mean, they're not allowed to do business. So like, if
Right,
a reporters like,
Rumors are how often are rumors actual business, you know?
no, they're all just to spin everyone into a frenzy. But I'm saying if they're like reports are the Yankees and Correa's camps are talking, that's like, reporting on unlawfulness almost, not like law, but like it's illegal. So that reporter could get, if that's not correct, it's not just like it's illegal for the Yankees and Correa's camp to be talking. So if someone was to report on that correctly, it's not like a baseball report. It's like a lawsuit.
If I told you Yankees have interest in Schwarber, that's a rumor.
I'm interested to know if that'll happen. Give
During
me
the-
no rumors and just utter deadness until it's over.
During the '94 lockout, the Yankees extended Paul O'Neill, and all the owners got mad at George.
You can extend your own players during the lockout.
I have no idea what the rules are, but they gave Paul O'Neill his extension during the strike in '94. All the other owners
That's
got
hilarious.
pissed at George.
That's hilarious.
It's pretty good. So give us something like that. Just something to chew on. We need some sunflower seeds right now.
I'd love to talk to O'Neill and hear how that went down. Steinbrenner probably called him like, "You want to make everyone mad?
Strike.
I'll make you the only baseball player in the headlines right now."
I don't know, George. All right.
Oh man.
All right, Papa.
So we might do an episode tonight if something happens. The deadline is tonight. Well, the non-tender deadline's 8 p.m. And then that's a crazy window, 8 p.m. to midnight. Like, say Gary Sanchez said the Yankees non-tender him, right?
Right.
He got 3 hours to sign somewhere before the lockout if he wants to.
Yeah, it's kind of everything you just said. I probably wouldn't rush a 3-hour contract.
I think they
and
technically have Wednesday also.
Wednesday. They
calendars,
have
I
till
think.
Wednesday midnight again.
That's why they bumped it up so they have
Yeah,
36
okay,
hours
okay.
or whatever. Till
So
he's
that
do
36
something.
hour, well, but it also around the league, like who gets non-tender. Last year, Eddie Rosario got non-tender. Like if there's some options like that,
Yanks could scoop the guy.
It might be, oh, well, he's a free agent. Let's go get him. How are the Indians going to non-tender this year? J-Ram? Just because why?
I
Why
don't
not?
think they have guys to non-tender. I think what was the Rosenthal tweet? It was Scherzer is currently getting paid more than 3 teams, I think. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and someone else.
I think there's another team too. It's one of the ones that's like expected to do stuff still, I think. So it kind of doesn't count, but those 3 for sure were on there.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll update you because when the wall does come down, we'll have a very clear look at what's available and what's not, and then best outlook. I'm excited for that clarity at least.
Yeah.
That's why everyone's trying to sign. Because say Correa is at 10-yard line with some team, but they can't close the deal. Well, boom, wall goes up. Kind of back to square one, and other teams are going to be able to like hear through the grapevine throughout the months and then match it, or teams change their mind, or it'll be fun.
Yes, sir.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll be back tonight or tomorrow or Thursday, depending on when news breaks. Go Yanks, Tom Grams.
Go Yankees.